Hello there, and welcome to the David Peterson channel. Hello, lads. A lot of people don't like these boys, but let's have a dive into it and see who's going to come back. It's the summertime now, so let's see, and I'll give my opinion on what I think is going to happen to these guys in general, and have a discussion in the comments there below. Remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel as you're coming in to watch, and let's get going then. So yeah, enough of that one. So yeah, so obviously I'm looking at the loan players. I think I'm going to try and go through all of them. Obviously, if I can do, if I can remember. There seems to be quite a few that have been out on loan and here, there, and everywhere. So just try and remember who's going, who's gone out and who's due to come back. I think bar the young lads who I'm not going to touch on too much. I think there's about 4 of them, including that man behind me, if anybody can see. There you go, of course. Including that man behind me there. What I think the situation is going to be with these boys. So off the top of my head, so let's get those guys who have gone out on loan, the young lads who have come back. Lewis Bate, probably, I think he's out of contract. He'll probably be sold. I think Darko Jaby, who spent the second half of the season on loan at Plymouth Argyle, they'll probably try and find another loan for him, I would have said. Then you've got Sam Greenwood, who did okay at Middlesbrough, didn't he? Did all right. Obviously, I think 5 goals he got, but didn't score the whole of the year. Last goal was in December, I think. He played second half of the season at Middlesbrough, or most of the season. Most of the season. I think he played pretty much all the season. I think only one appearance in the Championship for Leeds before he went off to Borough. He's coming back. He's still got a little bit of time on his deal, I think. He'll come back, but I think they'll try and get a fee for him. Really, we'll need better quality, really. I think than the likes of Sam Greenwood. Obviously, if Cree's going out to the Premier League, by the sound of it, we can't just let Sam Greenwood come back in and debutise for him on the left wing. We will go for better quality. I do think we'll try and get Greenwood out the door. And then we go to these lads who I think there's 4 of them or 5 of them that I want to speak about, because a few of them, of course, signed permanently for those teams are on loan at. The likes of Luis Sinisterra, Robin Koch, both went to Bournemouth and Frankfurt respectively in January. So yeah, I think there's 5 of them maybe. There's Aronson, of course. There's Christensen. There's Max Vober, Jack Harrison, and Mark Rocker. So I think those are the boys that I'm sort of going to focus on, really. Let me know in the comments there if I've forgotten anyone, though, because it was such a mess, wasn't it, in the summer, where, who knows what was going on really most of the time, and all these loans that went out. Some of them have an option to go straight back on loan as well, so we'll get those 2 straight out the way with. There's Jack Harrison, who had a really good season. Really, well, not really good. Obviously, Everton were pretty poor, and I would say really good. He actually had a really poor season. Seemed like he was doing all right, actually, at times. 29 games in the Premier League for Jack last season, 3 goals and 3 assists. He can exercise in his contract where he will go out again on loan if he wants to. I imagine he probably will, or somebody might come in and sign him, but I don't envision him, particularly in the Championship. Jack won't be back at Leeds, I don't think. Yeah, I think maybe Everton will have him back again. He's down on the right-hand side, McNeil on the left. It wasn't a sparkling season, obviously, for Everton by any means, but they got the job done in the end with the points deduction they did have, which could have really ended up being fatal for them Well, they'd have still stayed up, to be fair, wouldn't they? To be honest, but yeah, it would have been tighter than it was in the end. They'll be hoping for better this coming season, and I think Jack might be a part of that. He definitely won't be a part for Leeds United. The other one of these players who can exercise a second loan spell is Marc Roca, who spent the season, of course, out on loan at Real Betis. Real Betis finished seventh in end in La Liga, European Conference League qualification. So if he goes back there, he'll be playing in Europe next season. Marc Roca seemed to start the season very, very well and then just seemed to tail off a little bit towards the end of it, to be fair. I don't really know what happened. It was a strange one. I think he got injured maybe once or twice, but played the bulk of the games really well, most of them 26. He started 24 games of the 26 that he played. 2 goals and 2 assists. I think he had a decent time, in his native Spain, and I think again he'll probably look for a move. I think he was trying to get a move there, but I think it was potentially that Real Betis couldn't maybe not afford him. I think that was maybe it. But I think he'll go out again, won't he? And yeah, again, I don't think we'll see him in a league. I think he signed a 5-year deal, didn't he, when he signed? So he's still got 3 years on that. But yeah, again, maybe if we get up next season, he'll come back. But yeah, I don't envision him being. It'll probably be somewhere in Spain. If it's not Real Betis, it'd be somewhere in Spain again for him, won't it? Can't envision him, pulling on the white shirt again. If you want, I don't think he will. So then that comes to three of us. Three of them left, is it? Well, you can throw Llorente in there as well, can't you, Diego Llorente? Let's speak about him. Obviously, then it'll lead on to speaking about another fella, obviously, who was on loan as well at Roma. So Diego Llorente, I watched a little bits and bats of Roma this season. Llorente always seemed to be playing 29 games of the 38 games that they played. So he played quite a lot in the end. Spent second half of the previous season, didn't he, as well, on loan there as well. So he'd been there for a little bit of time since, January last year he went on loan for the remainder of the season, and then he went for the full season last season. 42 appearances in all last season, including some in the Europa League, 30 appearances, in Serie A, 1 goal as well. He scored a goal for them. I think, Fiorentina. Last minute equaliser he got for them against Fiorentina back in March. I don't think Diego will be back. Maybe they'll want to exercise a permanent move for him. He's saying about 11 million. He'll be, he'll be sort of. We won't see him again at Leeds. 30-year-old now. He'll be 31, pretty much as the season starts in sort of mid-August. So, yeah, I don't envision a time where he'll be back. I mean, he'll have to come back, and he might start pre-season training. I mean, look, if I know people will say, "Oh, Llorente is rubbish" and all that kind of thing. Maybe in the Premier League he was. I mean, if somehow we can, with a little bit of investment, obviously from Red Bull, can we say, hey, come back and give him a bit more brass? He did sign a long contract before he went out on loan to Roma back in December of 2022, I think it was. So if they can say, hey, look, a little bit more brass in your pay packet. I know it's the second division, but come back in and play. Let me know in the comments there. It's interesting debate, this, really. Would you have him back in? I certainly would at the championship level. A lot of people are still quite, oh, no, they flipped us off when we got relegated. I don't want to see him playing for Leeds again. But you've got to say that some of these players are of ilks that would be very, very helpful to Leeds in in where we are in the current division we're in and everything like that. So it's an interesting debate. Would you have Diego Llorente back? Although I do feel like once he does come back, obviously for pre-season, I think he'd be pretty much trying to sew up a move for himself away from Leeds. Let's wait and see, though. These players can surprise you. Then also we have Rasmus Christensen, who played alongside Diego Rente quite a lot of times last season as well. Also 29 appearances for them. One goal. It was a really jammy goal, I seem to remember, that he scored against, Sassuolo in a 2-1. Was it 2-1 win? A 2-1 win, yeah. Late on, he scored. It was a really, really jammy goal, like I said. But again, he started 19 games, came off the bench 10 times, and got an assist as well. Did score an own goal as well, just the one for them in the season as well, in a 2-0 defeat to Bologna. So yeah, that was obviously disappointing for him. I think overall, 29 appearances. He probably would say if you asked him that he'd had a decent season there. He was completely left out of the Europa League squad at the start of the season by then manager Jose Mourinho. So he didn't play in Europe for them, just a Coppa Italia as well, the Italian Cup, obviously, and 29 appearances in Serie A. I don't think he was well liked by the Roma fans. I don't think he had a particularly good season. He's still got 3 years on his Leeds United deal. So, I mean, again, he's worth about 12 million. I don't think he's in the Danish squad. Denmark are in the Euros, aren't they? I think. Yeah, they are. I don't know whether he's in the squad, to be fair. Yeah, he is. He is in the squad, so he's obviously done enough to get into the Danish squad for you know for the Euros. He was in the World Cup squad as well, of course. So let's just wait and see. Again, would you have Christensen back? Obviously, right back is a position that Leeds United need to fill. Obviously, it seems like Archie Gray. I think Archie will stay. I think Archie will be more deployed in a centre mid role. So I think right back is definitely a position that we'll be looking after. Whether Rasmus can come back in and do a job, like I said, 3 years left on his deal already. So if somebody wants to come in and get him, I don't know. I think he stays pretty quiet. As soon as we got relegated, it was reported that maybe he was trying to personally pay for his flight to Rome to get this deal done. He obviously didn't fancy the championship at all. Whether that has changed in his experience in Italy, obviously hasn't been the best. And maybe he does feel like coming back to Leeds and giving it a go. But I'd take him. I know some people might laugh and say, "What are you talking about?" But obviously, I would take him if he was, if he was to end up back at Leeds and play for his place in the squad at right back. A bit like Firpo, really. I didn't really expect Firpo to stay in the Championship, and he obviously did, and he had a really good season. Whether that would be a confidence booster for Christensen and get him back in and enjoying his football again, I think anyway, we'd be winning more games than we'd be losing next season. So he'd be on a winning team more often than not. It's just whether he fancies it. You know what I mean? Having sampled sort of Roma and everything, he might not want to come back to Leeds. But again, like I said, some of these players do surprise you. I know a lot of fans probably wouldn't want to see Christensen back. But me personally, I think the quality wise is definitely good quality for this division that we find ourselves in again. So I'd have him back if I'm being completely honest. Let me know if you would in the comments there below. We've obviously got Max Foba as well. Max Foba, I've seen a lot of people say, he can F off. He doesn't want to, he doesn't want to know. And obviously, a bit of a sore point with Maximilian Volber because he'd only signed in January of 2023, did about 6 months on his 4.5 year contract, and then just, oh yeah, I'm going to stay. I'm going to, whatever in the championship was part of all the kit launches and everything. Pictured in, of course, in the new shirt, which was a new shirt, the one we wore last season. A couple of weeks after that, he'd gone to Mönchengladbach on loan, and a lot of people saying, well, yeah, we don't want to see ever again in a Leeds shirt. A lot of people still saying that when it's come up again. Will he be coming back? What's he going to do? I think he's been speaking just briefly on it. I know he's in the Austrian Euro squad as well. Yeah, people, he's been saying basically see what Leeds want to do. But obviously he wants to go to the Euros, and he is going to the Euros with his country. Again, I don't know. He didn't really have the best of seasons, Volber. I mean, neither did Mönchengladbach. They were right towards the bottom end of the table. In 14th position, they finished in. Max Volber played 25 games and scored 2 goals with 3 assists. 24 starts of the 25, so just came off the bench the once. But yeah, I just don't know. I think there's a lot of bad blood, it seems, with Max Volber, because he initially said, he came out and said he was going to stay and try and help, and then he just went off to Mönchengladbach. But again, it was top level football. But, they didn't have the best seasons at all. Did Mönchengladbach at all? He actually scored Volber against Dortmund in April towards the end of the season in a 2-1 defeat. He also scored against Frankfurt and then got himself sent off as well. Robin Koch scored a quite dramatic 97th minute winner in that game in December. But yeah, there seems a lot of bad feeling towards Volber. But I think, again, like Christensen, if he comes back in, he gives us a really good bit of quality alongside Pascal Struijk, alongside Ethan Ampadu, potentially. And, if we can't get the Joe Rodon deal over the line, then I think it's not a bad player to have on your books, really. Obviously better than the Championship in terms of quality-wise. So yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments below. Would you have him back? I mean, like I said, there's seen a lot of pushback from fans, really. But me personally, again, if he improves the team and he's willing to put it aside, the thought of playing in the second division, it's again we'd be winning more games than we're losing, I think. And I think with the feeling had come back for these guys, and he only did 6 months at Leeds or something like that. He's still got. What has he got? Like, he's still got about 3.5 years on his contract, I think, or 3 years or so on his contract that he signed. So he's still contracted to Leeds. He'll come back. He hasn't got an option for the loan this time. So, let's see what he wants to do. Does he want to go out on loan again? Or somebody sign him permanently? I mean, he's worth about 13 million. Obviously, like we said, we see him in the Euros this season, this summer, and see how he gets on. But the final one I want to talk about is, of course, Brenden Aaronson, who had a horrible season at Union Berlin. Of course, started in the Champions League. For them, they only just narrowly survived relegation in the end. Brenden did play quite a lot of games, though, 30 in all, but only 14 starts for him. He scored 2 goals and 2 assists. All of these boys really haven't had sparkling seasons at all. I think there was talk in January that Brenden was going to come back to Leeds, and that Union were not happy with him at all. I don't think they want to sign him. So, we paid about 20-25 million for him. I don't think the 49ers are going to let anything less than that let him go. And who's really going to pay that sort of money for him? And I've said it all the time. I think we'll see Brenden back at Leeds. And I think maybe he's this number 10 that we need. Maybe he's that number 10 that we need to unlock and win the games that we didn't win last season to get us promoted. Look, he's still only 23, Brendan. You know, he was a young lad, wasn't he, when he signed for us? But you know, again, like the other boys, he's about 2 years into a 5-year deal at Leeds. And yeah, I don't think 49ers are just going to take a loss like that on him. I think they'll want to recoup quite a bit of the money, at least that they paid for him. You know, and I think they'll have something to say to him when he comes back in the, you know, for pre-season. You know, look, get your head down, get your confidence up, because he doesn't seem like he's very confident at all. And you can understand it. Obviously, got relegated with us the previous season. Then he came to Union Berlin, started in the Champions League, but the season just fell flat, and they nearly got relegated. So didn't have a good season at all. I think he'll be going away with he'll be going to his home country, won't he, to compete in the Copa America, which starts in a few weeks' time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be in the squad for that. So he'll be competing in that as well. So pretty much all of these guys will be playing for the countries in the upcoming summer tournaments. So we'll get to see how they play. Obviously, they will all be coming back for pre-season training, like I said. Whether they all come back for the season, let's wait and see. Give me your thoughts on the loan guys in the comments there below. I know it's a little bit of a sore point for some people, isn't it? But I always like to do this at the end of the season when the players have, you know, gone out on loan to kind of give my thoughts on, you know, who's going to stay, who's going to come back, who's going to go out on loan, who's going to go out permanently. So, yeah, to recap, Jack Harrison, Marc Roca, I think will go out. I think Diego Rente will be sold. I think all the other three will come back into the squad, I think. Rasmus Christensen, Brendan Aronson, and Max Vober. I think we'll all see them in Leeds United shirts next season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments there below. Thank you very much, as always, for watching it. On the next one.